About 2 years ago, I joined the army to complete my military service, which is mandatory in Turkey, and it was going to take 6 months. It was forbidden to carry smartphones and there wasn't going to be internet access, so I already knew a restricted and disciplined lifestyle was waiting for me. I thought maybe this period could be a great chance to clear up my mind and gain different experiences. After I came back to normal, I realized these 10 most visible effects of living without the internet and a smartphone. The days are a lot longer. The digital age brought the fast lane lifestyle. We're so used to live in a fast fashion. The screens, notifications, social media, the whole digital world suddenly vanished from my life. Once such a huge stimulus is gone, it felt like the days were never ending. Your whole attention and focus become your environment and your daily routine in general. There were so many hours in the day. I was cleaning up my place, having my breakfast, doing my duties and chatting with friends, and after all of that, when I looked at the clock, it always surprised me how early it is. In my normal life, there was an irritating feeling that often visits me, like I always tried to catch up with something, and no matter how hard I try, at the end of the day, the whole hustle usually doesn't work out the way I want it to be. Eliminating the internet and smartphone definitely makes you more aware of the present moment and calibrates you at a healthy pace. You care more about your surroundings and what's physically in front of you, whether it's a duty or a person you talk to. There are no virtual elements interrupting your space, so you feel more in control and don't need to rush things out. Once I read an article that says that our brains are the most active when we absolutely do nothing. It's the most creative state of our minds. When you first think about that, it seems like absolute bullshit. But I figured out there is some truth to that. Our mind needs some relief to synthesize something new. Newton was resting under a tree when the idea of gravity visited his mind. You forget something and no matter how hard you try, you just can't remember it. But once you don't care and go on with your life, you remember it later. That's because our mind often does not work forcefully. Maybe we don't care, but the digital age took those brief moments away from us. We are so used to be stimulated all the time that it's incredibly suffering to just sit down in a place without doing anything. In the modern era, we desperately need to be distracted and chase immediate pleasure. The internet and smartphone addiction just perfectly feed this craving. It's crazy how we are programmed to escape from inward-directed thought and never do any self-examination. Do you know what happens when we ignore these thoughts? They control how we live our lives, whether they are real or not. Once you examine what comes to your mind, you start to see that not all thoughts are real or necessary. Mostly, we don't even choose what to think. It's weird, but our mind is like an independent section that can generate endless delusional thoughts and anxiety-triggering scenarios. And we are observers who can rationally see and evaluate if they are helpful, real, or trash products. Well, we don't do it. We rather live on autopilot. This is huge enlightenment for the individual. I had 2 hours of guard duty in tower every single night. No distractions. No noise, you're by yourself for 2 hours. That's something we don't do in our lives. When it's quiet enough, you start to hear the voice within. You don't have much control over it. Maybe a song, maybe a past or recent event come up out of nowhere. You also don't have the capacity to shut it down. At first, you might think like your mind is just being a bitch by continuously causing discomfort. However, I discovered that it was not the case at all. That was actually a chance to make an examination and solve the puzzle through thinking. Your mind is just warning you about the lacking part, so you can take care of the unknown and build a better future. It's a call to reach certainty. When you understand and make progress in your internal process, you start to live better. Nothing was one click away from me. I had to deal with all kinds of people because we were forced to live in the same environment. I waited in the meal queue rather than ordering it on the internet right away. We could watch TV or play chess for leisure, but guess what? You don't have the remote control, and there was only one chessboard and it was mostly occupied. In normal life we can watch whatever we want and anywhere and anytime. You just click a button and the chess app finds you an opponent. When I came back home, I realized that it was easier for me to wait for anything. I wasn't raging right away when things haven't gone in my way. I was more controlled and patient in general. Every moment is filled with hedonic activities in life because otherwise we see them as wasted. However, anhedonic moments can be very joyous and help you to become more creative. Today, you can't just sit down and focus on a task for a certain period of time because of interruptions. A new notification from WhatsApp, social media, text messages, video recommendations, likes, comments, online calls. They never leave you alone. When you're distracted once, it takes too much time to focus again. For what? For garbage information that will make zero positive impact on your life. When you cut the internet and smartphone out of your life, your brain stops getting bombarded with those unnecessary stimuli. Plus, when there is a possibility of distraction, it's much harder to focus because you'll be like a cat on a tin roof. You never know when it will come and hit your nerves by ruining all of your mental battery. I used to find reading boring. It's not that I don't want to read, but once I start to read, something is bothering me like I shouldn't do it. That's because books do not deliver quick pleasure as smartphones do. We have tons of options in life which can provide instant gratification. There is too much of a sacrifice when you just dedicate an hour to a book. So if your brain is used to getting quick stimuli, which we all do in the modern era, our ability to endure in reading certainly decreases. Reading is just an example. To be able to focus on anything, you must be okay with not getting any quick pleasurable return for a certain time. This becomes a very challenging task if you have a dopamine spiking addictions. However, once you start to break loose of these mental chains, you can increasingly enjoy healthy activities. Since I did not have options, I could discover the beauty of reading a book again. This feeling of missing out never visited me because reading a book was actually a luxury. Contrarily, I was so grateful for the time I could allocate for the reading. It's crazy how much we consume in the digital age compared to what we produce. For example, you listen to thousands of songs, but how much music do you produce? You watch thousands of videos, but how many videos do you make? Average people are so addicted to consuming that they never even think about producing is an option. Of course, not everybody has to make music or videos, but at least a decent amount of your time needs to be spent on producing. But it's not something you can realize while you're consuming all the time. When you cut out the excessive consumption, you get your focus back and find some space to become productive. In modern life, empty hours are automatically filled with consuming some material because that's our habit. In 6 months in military, I have written a novel which was about 150 pages. I wrote in my journal every single day. I have read more than 30 books. I exercised regularly and stayed in shape. I learned how to play table tennis and chess. I made friends with more than 100 people, socialized and listened to their life stories and what they went through. People always matter more than tools. Yes, we can handle things more quickly and get in touch with people from all around the world with the touch of a button. But do these technological advancements make us more connected to the world around us? Maybe our brain likes the entertaining visuals on the screens, but eventually we are more separated rather than connected to each other. We crave good fellowships, yet we continue to isolate ourselves from people because we just forgot that's what we ultimately want. And it puts an irreplaceable hole right in our souls. It's more demanding to meet new people and build friendships. That's why we choose quick, comforting solutions. In a place like the military, which has hierarchical restrictions and extra discipline, we desperately needed to share our free ideas with each other and build friendships. A smartphone can never offer a similarly liberating effect. It's the same in life as well. There is no such technological device that will replace a meaningful friendship. Long story short, it might sound weird, but that was something I totally forgot in real life. It's a key component for our mental health to have intimate connections and true and meaningful conversations with eye contact and body language that will never come from a screen. Our lives are all full. With the advent of the internet and smartphones, our area of influence has extended excessively. That might be useful to know what's going on sometimes, but it's mostly trash. Happiness comes from simplicity, so it's not natural to wake up and feel stressed right away because you read something happened at the other part of the world. That's a clear indication of you pay attention to stuff more than enough and cause you unnecessary worry, anxiety and stress. When you're out of the digital game, you only deal with your surroundings, your job, daily tasks, people in your circle. If you have such a powerful tool like the internet, you always feel like you are missing out on something. You think you could have done more and more. You open your eyes in the morning and you feel an urge to check your mail, message box, notifications, etc. Then you see a video recommendation and you must see this. Of course you want to absorb more information and watch it. You find something new and more interesting, or the algorithm makes new charming offerings. Then you check the clock and it has been 1 hour and realize that you haven't even started your day. You still feel sleepy, lazy and inert. Nothing you can do in your day feels more exciting than the screens can offer. It drains your willpower, saps your life energy, and desolates you in such a way that you can't escape and do something productive. We are obsessed with sex and food. They take a lot of our time, distract us from doing what we actually need, and cause us to use our energy for trivial things. I already knew that, but I couldn't entirely grasp the severity of the situation. We struggle with these a lot because that's all what they bombard us. When you eat shitty food, you can't think clearly. While you're not able to think clearly, you also waste your precious time and energy by chasing women in the clubs, or even worse, watching porn and jerking off. Living in the digital age triggers these cravings as a byproduct. Sex and food are everywhere on the screens, and they become the key ingredients of our subconscious. Ads, billboards, half-naked chicks, fast food restaurants pop out of nowhere. Once you're not exposed to these for a while, the cravings are just gone. That's what happened to me in the military, because these 6 months totally cleaned up my mind. I absolutely did not feel any urge to watch porn or overeat. That wasn't something I did on purpose. It just happened as a result of the change in my environment. We are on an uphill battle in real life because the evil wrapped around us more than we think. So we must be extra careful to not drift as it's dictated on us. If we are unguarded for a second, it catches us right away. Nobody remembers you once you're offline and you realize who your actual friends are. For 6 months, I have only talked to my family, some relatives, and a few friends on the phone. Some people told me that they texted on WhatsApp and their messages weren't delivered. I know that if they really wanted to reach me, they would have called. I rarely watched the news. I never checked what others did in their life. I never saw a picture of a wedding that I'll never join. I never felt sorry for someone who I'll never meet. I did not watch a single ad that was trying to scam me. When I was informed, it was definitely about something I can take care of, so I was only busy with the life I am living. If we have a trash can in our brains, it's always full in the modern life. We always fill it with trivial garbage. As time goes by, we even become desensitized to its stinky air. If you don't believe what I say, just check out how you spend your most time on the internet and compare it with your goals and desires. Is there any correlation? It's crazy how carelessly we spend our time and energy. It's so easy to do it. We can easily forget about our life and get into a leisure loop. Emptying my mind enabled me to see what's actually important for me. When you got rid of all of the extra, now you can see what's serving your purpose. So do you want to see what's necessary? Start by getting rid of the garbage. When the screens are gone, you automatically turn back to the natural circadian rhythm. If there's nothing to do, lights are off, you're in your bed, there's nothing else to do. So you just think that it would be great to sleep like a baby and feeling fully prepared for the next day. Your body can't know if it's night or daylight when your eyes are affected by the screen lights all the time. We become desensitized to the natural clock of our body, and once the sleep time is past, you can't have the optimal hormonal levels back again. There is simply nothing you can do about it, because nothing else can give what sleep gives you. So whatever you do at night by looking at a screen is never more important than your sanity. So what now? Will I completely eliminate smartphones and the internet from my life? Of course not. It would be silly to deny the era we live in. Humanity works so hard to offer these incredible options, so we must utilize all the benefits of it. You can learn things a lot faster on the internet. You can even make a living and build a business. I love to carry a library in my pocket where I can read whenever I wish. For all that, we just can't underestimate the danger factor. This period only increased my awareness about how cautious and strict I must be while using them. When the poison enters your blood, it's harder to get rid of it. But the internet and smartphone will be the tools I use to enhance my life. For example, whenever I grab the phone, I will make sure to use it in a deliberate way, in a way to add value to my life. I will just not open up and let the algorithm feed my greed. I won't find myself watching a movie trailer in the middle of an important task. The wasted time on unconscious breaks for binge watching and mindless internet browsing is huge. Sure, there is no harm in having fun and getting some entertainment, but whenever I do this, it will be with the intention of doing these things, not the other way around. Thank you for watching. If you want to support the channel, please leave a like and subscribe. See you in the next video.